Hello, this is my Icebox guide for Gekko. I'm going to start on defense. And we'll talk about mid first, because mid is the one place really on this map that I don't really go a whole lot on Gekko. Because there's just not much reason to. The main reasons I'll go here is if I'm ecoing and have a specific strat, or like if I have an outlaw and I want to go this angle. Or if I want to like walk down tube with a teammate or something, I might do that. I very much play like a support player on Gekko, where you're like kind of tagging yourself onto a duelist, making a play potentially, and that kind of stuff. So that's when I'll go mid, basically, is when I'm like tagging onto a play. So a nice flash that you can do in mid though is this one. I like this flash whenever you get like this sort of control, and you know that they're not like too close that they can peek you, or you've got a teammate to kind of help you. The reason why I like this flash is because the wind up time is behind the wall, so the enemy team only see it when it's activated. So it's actually quite a strong flash. There's actually quite a few flashes like across the game that Gekko uses, that you should be using on Gekko, that do this. It's one of the best things, one of the most important skills actually on Gekko, is to know how to throw Dizzy in a way that the wind time is hidden. So then it just lowers the amount of time it takes to shoot things, basically, and the enemy team has way less time to react to it, basically, is the idea of it. Other times I go mid are just rotating through this area, either from B to A or A to B. And that's pretty much the only times I'll go mid. Unless I've got a specific strat in mind, or if I know they don't have an anti-flank up and something, and I have a read to go all the way around A, that kind of stuff, that's when I'll go through mid. Next is A. So I mainly play A a lot more than anywhere else, because it is just a really nice site for Gekko, mainly in post, but you can also support your teammates a lot here. So you're going to be the one shooting darts, and you can also be the one fighting this angle as well, if you want to be. The one thing as well with the Gekko in this site is that you can't really use your skill to go super aggressive, because you want to pick it up again. So throwing it forward like this is pretty bad. So you kind of want to be doing it like this, going straight up, so when it explodes or gets shot, then it's going to be coming back to you. You can also bounce off this wall as well. There's also off the strat scene. I don't like this one as much, because if it does get shot on the way to the wall, then it's going to be dropping down here somewhere. And it's not going to be the easiest thing to go retrieve, because you have to cross all this active space where you can get shot. So you want to be careful when you're doing those sort of ones. You can also do off this as well, like this, which is interesting, right? Interesting, because it does also land in a semi-safe position too, so it could be decent. So next I'll talk about like the post plant, or like delaying the plant as well. So there are some models I have to like delay plant. So a lot of the time I was trying to like bounce off the ceiling, but it's just not really that viable to like bounce off the ceiling. As you can see, the arc is like super slow, and doesn't go quite high enough. So what I want to do is I want to do this one instead. So I go to this doorway, and I aim at the edge of this light, bounce off the wall once, and then it this, and it's just like basically hitting every single plant spot that people usually go for. Another one as well is if you know they like to go like in this area, like a sage wall or something, or like to sit gen, then you can do this one where you're just gonna go to this door frame and go back slightly, so you can run through, and you just want to run through, making sure it hits this wall, basically. Super easy, and it will land like from gen. It will clear gen out, and it will also stop anyone planting in this position as well, just a semi-common sort of plant position. When Sage is played anyway, it can be. But yeah, it's really good for just clearing gen as well. Another one you can do, which is more post-plant sided, is once again at this door frame on the inside. You want to aim at this corner here, and then up and left slightly, so it doesn't hit anything. And then it should land in jail, basically. So it doesn't quite hit everything, which is not the greatest. But it does clear anyone else out playing this sort of angle, so it can be quite good towards the end of the post plant potentially, but you will be quite far behind if you're here at the end of the post plant, or near the end of the post plant. So it might be a bit of like a molly that's okay in most situations, and it won't really get like the full value of what that molly can do, because you're just not going to be positioned to take advantage of it. Next thing is like, let's clear the site on Gekko, right? Because you're going to be one of the two initiators, which is great, but also, if you're the only initiator that's still alive, you're going to have to try and find ways to clear the space. So, for me, a lot of people get like, sucked into this Dizzy, and I like to play this Dizzy a lot. And the reason why this Dizzy is not that good is because while it does clear a lot of stuff, the problem is also that it clears a lot of stuff. So, the enemy team are going to have a really easy time shooting this from any of these angles. And not only that as well, sometimes it can be difficult to know which angle, especially like, say, like jail versus belt. Like, it's going to be difficult to know sometimes, especially if you're throwing it from over here, which one is which, like which one shot it, or if someone is belt and there's no one jail or something like that, right? It's going to be hard to make that distinction. So what I like to do instead is I like to do my dizzy behind 410, and that way it clears all of it clears like this side of pipes. It clears all the front sight, this angle. It clears gen on the way forward as well, on the way there, and it also clears like all of this. It clears some stuff up here as well. So it's clearing a lot. And the stuff it doesn't clear, we can swing into. So we can swing behind this box. We also should already have this clear by the time we're throwing this dizzy anyway, like this corner. And one thing it doesn't clear, and that you don't clear as well, is this corner. So you can throw the wingman out for it to clear this as well. So you can do stuff like this, and you'll basically clear all of sight at this point. If you swing like this as well, you basically clear all of sight at this point. I suppose technically the one place they could be though is behind this box, super bit far to the right like this. They would hide from everything, so you might want to give this box a quick spam as well. There's also a thrash path as well, which I'll quickly talk about as well, but we're going to talk about wingman slightly first. Is that when you've got wingman in a post plant situation, you want to make sure that you aren't using him, like, you want to use him and then pick him back up again, but make sure you're taking into account like the time it takes to get him back for the plant, right, or for the diffuse, because you want to make sure you can use him to diffuse, because he's just that strong to sit there diffuse. He dodges some mollies. Actually, I'm not sure if he dodges any mollies anymore. He might do. I think pretty sure he does still dodge some mollies. And also it's just you get to keep your gun up at the same time as the diffuse. It's especially useful as well when you have thrash. So when you, first of all, I'll talk about thrash, like some of the stuff with thrash before I talk about that. So thrash mechanically, you don't have to go forward. Like I've got nothing on the mace right now, on the keyboard, and he goes forward by himself. So that's really important because it means that we can basically not have to press W, and we can do like bunny hops like this, right? And it's super easy to have really good movement on thrash. I feel like it's just one of those things where once you know that you can have good movement on thrash, it's really easy to get good movement on thrash. So that's something to bear in mind. Like try and bunny hop a lot, and don't just be like a shark on the ground. A lot of people just fall into that like trap of not thinking that thrash is like Skydog or something like that, right? But he's definitely not. He's very much more mobile than that. One other thing as well I wanted to talk about as well is the fast detonation of thrash. So thrash isn't just locked into the long animation. You also have a different animation, which is if you spam click, then it's a lot earlier. So I spam click there. Look at the difference of that. That is actually quite a massive difference. So that's the reason why you want to be making sure like you know of this, because this can be useful sometimes if you want to like bunny hop around corners, like on the detonation, or if you want to get a lot of distance before you expire on thrash, or in general, like in my opinion, like it's a lot harder to shoot the thrash when he's on his left click animation than it is when he's like bunny hopping towards you. So if they are like a certain distance away, then it is better to do this one instead of trying to bunny hop close, and then do the fast animation instead. It depends on the situation, and also depends on like how good you are at maneuvering with thrash. But these are all things that you can bear in mind, things to learn on thrash. So let's look about the pathing of thrash on A site. So usually, if you've got thrash up, then you can basically clear all of A site. And then you want to basically put him in a position where you can pick him up again, which is usually the middle of 410 for me. Usually was where I leave him. And then at this point, I can, once thrash is like closer to being up, so like 4 seconds, like 3 seconds, 2 seconds, I'll send the wingman to go diffuse, and then I'll press thrash again. And what this does is it basically creates pressure on the bomb, and it also creates pressure against any of the enemy team that are susceptible to thrash. Anyone up here and on belt will not care about thrash too much. But anyone close, like jail or like this area, they're going to be pressured by the thrash, and also get pressured by the diffuse, the fact that the diffuse is going down. So it's a really strong combination where you can pressure the enemy team at the same time as pressuring the bomb. And that's what wingman basically is that you can also do this without thrash, right? You can send the wingman and then you can go fight. Like this is like a really important thing about wingman is that you can have your gun up at the same time. So at the same time as diffusing. So it's really strong. So that's it for A. We'll talk about attack in a bit, but we're going to talk about B now for defense. So I did post plant and all that sort of stuff for A. This is like a rotation molly. So when I'm rotating from A to B,
Right there.
and they haven't planted yet, or like they're not really that close to planting, I can delay the bomb plant with this thrash. So just in this
Right
corner.
there.
Not thrash, sorry, mosh. And it goes into default. Really easy. Just aim at the crane. Aim at this crane.
There.
It's pretty easy. If I'm a bit late and they're already like planting, right? Then I'll just go into kitchen. And making sure like this stuff is clear. I'm not just going to throw this without caring about my surroundings. But make sure your surroundings are clear, and then you want to go basically on this like wall, on this door frame, and you want to aim at this with this part of the hood here, and then throw, and it will clear yellow. I like these yellow clears as well. You notice that if you've watched me on stream play Silver, I'll go onto this corner and I'll do shocks for this. It's really strong to clear yellow because a lot of people like to play yellow. And it's a really strong position to clear, right? Because think about it like this, right? When you're retaking B, it's super hard to like have to switch between all these angles, right? Like like all the degrees, right? It's a wider cone that you have to switch between. Especially if you want to go aggressive over here, you have to like swing your mouse so many different angles to swing to. But if you clear all of yellow, then all of a sudden like the angles become super tight next to each other, right? You basically only have to worry about this like little cone here, and obviously there's this as well, the flank. But even then, like that would be even harder, right? Having to clear yellow and then knowing there's a flank as well. Like it's just super hard. But clearing yellow like this can be really strong, right? Because as soon as this lands and detonates, it means that if your teammates or if you aren't fighting anyone in this sort of region, yellow is clear, right? The only place it can be is behind this box, but this box usually gets spammed and very easily spammed. So if you are concerned, you can always spam it. So it's super good to throw this molly. Then we're actually like playing B. Sorry, I just wanted to talk about like rotations. That's more like post plant stuff, but like post plants or like delay plant stuff. But we'll talk about actually playing B as well. So generally, don't really play B too much because usually you'll find the operator player playing towards B. And usually that means that doesn't make much sense for you to be here because you kind of want to play on the strong side and the operator wants to play on the weak side, so you're going to be on different sides of the map. There are times where you'll be here though. Sometimes especially like if the enemy team has a Reyna and you have an operator over here, it's nice to have someone to support you because they can shoot the lair when you're playing operator. So you could be that person that shoots the lair for your teammate. Potentially is one of the reasons you might be here. Very similar to how you would play A as well, but shooting the dart and things. You're just going to play very supportive in that way. Unfortunately, you don't have great places to play Dizzy. A lot of the time on Icebox, it's a lot about the interactions with planting and defusing. Icebox is basically a lot of the time we played out in like such a small region of the map, like in this sort of area, where majority of the util will go. And don't get me wrong, there will be places where you'll be aggressive, but Gekko tends to not play like that. Because of the way that he wants to get his util back, and it's not exactly super easy to do that versus attack when you go aggressive on defense. So he likes to play a bit further back, so you don't really do too much in the actual main, unless your teammates are going for something in main, then you'll be once again supporting them to do that. So that's kind of how I'll play B. So a lot of the time I'm going to be playing further back. I might be delaying the plan like this, throwing wingman out sometimes as well. So, like if someone's like super close to me, like if they like to push into this region, then wingman's really strong there. Because bear in mind as well that wingman will then detonate and be reclaimable in about this region, right? If they right up close to me. So if I get like get the kill on the stun player, I can also retrieve the wingman from behind the corner. So it's really strong to do that sort of stuff. There's not really too many great dizzies. You can dizzy over this as well, like this, which is kind of nice to be fair. But just gotta bear in mind, like you can get flanked super easily in this region. Like they can see you from here, so you want to be careful they're not going too aggressive on you when throwing this dizzy. When it comes to thrash, you can thrash from over here. Just be careful of mid, and that's basically it. You can also thrash from here, but just be careful that people can get super close to you if you do it too late. So you want to be careful about doing that. So it's super easy for him to die though. So if you go, say if I thrash like this way, it's super easy for him to die, right? When he wants to clear yellow, because he'll path like this, and then this is like such a free kill on the thrash from any of these angles, right? So what I would like to do is you want to try and get to back yellow, and then just chill. You can either go for a detonate on the people behind yellow, and then you can follow up with a molly like this, or you can just like keep it here. And then if you ever get the chance to cross, you can pick it back up and do it from here by throwing the post plants. And you can get angles like this. Okay, so for wingman, there is some wingman stuff you can do, but it's super hard to use your util on this site because of if you want to reclaim it, it's super hard to put it in positions where you can reclaim. So he's not got the greatest of like active util here. Usually you just want to use wingman on the bomb. You're very rarely going to put it in a position where you can pick it back up again unless they're going super aggressive on you. We've done everything on defense that I want to talk about, so let's go on to attack. So on attack, we'll talk about A first. So how do we scale into A is going to be, the main way for me is going to be on belt and then you drop down. It's usually how I scale, very similar to the way I scale on Sova as well. I scale that way a lot because going this way into lobby can be quite risky. You're going to have to fight people on belt, people pushing forward on pipes. Belt, I mean, this is pipes as well, so anyone pushing forward on pipes, like on the ground next to pipes, and also gen with an operator. You can, like, kind of alleviate this a bit by being here. Bear in mind, though, if they are on a certain angle, like a certain, like, left side angle over here, the dizzy does not hit them with a blind. It activates, but doesn't hit them with anything. So if you hear the dizzy activate and not blind anything, then you can assume they're on this angle, so with an operator. So you want to be very, maybe not with an operator, but you can assume that they're on this angle at least, and that can mean an operator, so want to be careful of that. It is pretty good for pushing the other angles off, though, especially because, as well, the dizzy is active. This is not the actual dizzy, but the dizzy is active a bit here, so it will actually get most people, like, walking in this area.
You did good.
And then you'll reclaim it a bit here, and then you can jump up here and do the molly. If I path this way, I'll talk about the molly in a second. If I path this way, I'll dodge a lot of that, so I don't really have to reclaim my dizzy. I can just walk over here if I want to do that. Or I might do this dizzy over here. I won't actually then do this molly, though, because it's a bit of an awkward path. So I'll usually send my mosh for post plant in this situation. And plant in either this position, and then I'll reclaim dizzy while wingman is planting. That's usually that's like the path off belt. The path off this area, so I'll reclaim my dizzy here. And then I'll jump up here and then do a molly. So this is as soon as molly that he did in one of his games, 400 Thieves, and he lines up this wall, this corner here, and then goes down to this line, throws, and it should bounce off here and then here. And it's going to clear this corner, and it's going to also stop people running out of stairs into sight. It's going to stop people running out of sight into stairs. We'll also stop any rotations back sight to like this area of sight towards screens. So you want to be throwing that molly when you're execing, ideally, and it's really strong to like keep people in position or to stop people from fighting you. It can be really strong. Past that as well, then you will be doing similar pathings, like you'll be doing stuff like this to plant, that kind of stuff. Is ideal. You want to basically always make sure wingman is planting, because having that extra gun up is just really impactful. One other thing as well, okay, we'll talk about post plant in a second. We'll talk about thrash now. So with thrash, once again, very similar to defense. We want to be pathing in a way that we can reclaim for the first time. So doing ones like this can get him killed very easily. So while he's reclaimable like that, bear in mind, like if mine's bugged. But if he's reclaimable in that position, kind of, right? You can kind of do it from around the corner. But bear in mind, like, if he does die, then he's going to basically be reclaimable where he died, which is going to be around here somewhere, potentially, if the Viper wall's not up. So it's going to be very difficult to get him back there. So you want to be very careful with how you're pathing on thrash, and, like, where's an active area where you're going to get a shot, and where's a non-active area where you're just going to get info. Or you're going to be able to detain the person that you're going to get info on. So having, like this on 410 would be really good for sandwich, and then just, like, chilling, basically, for a second one.
That's as far as she goes.
But just like clearing sandwich here, reclaiming it, and then doing it again in 10 seconds can be quite strong. It's a bit slow though. So instead of doing it again in 10 seconds, you might want to just then plant and then save thrash for post, because thrash can be really strong on post as well. Really high pressure, because you're going to know where the person is when they're defusing, unless the enemy team has their wingman up as well. But yeah, that's basically it for like attacking the site and like some post plant stuff as well with thrash. And then we got post plant molly over here. You go on the barrels. And aim at this corner here of the arrow and then throw. Really strong molly, because it basically hits everything aside from this one. This plant it hits every other plant, so it's really strong. It's really strong. I don't have one for this one. I don't think.
On my mark.
I'm trying to think if I do. I'm pretty sure I had one over here somewhere. I think it might be this. I don't think. Is this right? Is this right? It is, right? It might be a bit different than that, but it does hit this plant. You just go in that corner, and one of these. It's probably this actually. It's definitely one of the corners. Yeah, it's this. Yeah, so that's just for this plant. But yeah, it's not the greatest, but it is one you can do. Next is mid. So we'll go mid on attack, and this is more if we're doing this as a team. As I said, like Gekko, and we're playing very supportish, so I'm very rarely going to be doing things like flanks and lurks and things, but they're not 100% of the time. I'm not going to do it. I will still do it, just going to pick my times a bit more wisely than if I was playing a bit more of a character, like a character a bit more designed to lurk and things, like a Cypher or a Chamber or something. Let's go on to B. So on B, you can really make it take advantage of some of these walls where you can send your utility and not have to peek things. Generally though, you are going to be leaving this area. If you have a Sova on your team, you're going to be leaving this area to go in the dart, probably. And then eventually you can go help defend. You can go protect yellow, and it's pretty easy to reclaim that stuff once the Viper wall's up. If the Viper wall's up, it's super easy to reclaim this. Not really going to get peeked. With thrash pathing as well, if you do thrash pathing like this, make sure the Viper wall is up when you're doing the thrash pathing, and then you can go keep it in yellow like this, and you go reclaim it, and then you've got it for post, which is really, really strong. And there's also some some dizzies you can do over here as well. Just be careful, you need to reclaim if you want to reclaim these, which you should be wanting to reclaim these. You do have to go onto site, which isn't great. And then the plant is here. Usually you can also plant on this corner as well, which is also good. Usually you'll plant on this corner if you have someone playing mid. If you have someone playing mid and it's planted here, they have to get super close to fight this person, right? But if you have a flank mid, it only takes them being about here, and they'll see a majority of what they need to see. They'll definitely see the bomb at that point as well, and then they'll see the full zone that they can defuse on from here. So if you do have a constant mid lurk, this corner is probably better to plant on. It is more open in general too. Even if you have a long flank, it's better, right? Because they can see it from here and they can't see the corner over here. So this plant can be really, really strong. But only do it if you have flanks. I wouldn't do it all the time, because this plant is stronger. Otherwise, if you don't have that flank, it is stronger to do this one. For post plant mollies, or actually we'll do the exit molly first. Sorry, there's an exit molly here we can do. So when I'm executing the site, I'm looking at the kingdom logo here, this little line here. Doing this. Actually, this might be wrong. I did it wrong. Sorry, I just realized that one's wrong. Sorry, it's this one. I got the wrong line. So it's still the third hood line between Thrash and Dizzy. Yeah, I got it wrong the first time, my bad. And he gets all this corner, so it's really, really strong. A lot of Vipers and Killdruids will like to play this spot. When I'm playing Gekko, I like to play this spot as well. When I'm playing Gekko on B, because it's very easy to molly them from here. Vipers will definitely play here, so it's really good to push them out of that position and help you take the site if you need to, or at least help you contest them. Contesting you, if that makes sense. They're going to contest this plant, so if you contest them, it's harder for them to contest the plant. So yeah, that's what I would do. If there's a very particularly annoying Viper molly that keeps coming in from that area, this is the molly I would do. There's also a post plant molly as well. You go into this corner, there's a little corner for this doorway. You just need to push yourself into it, and then you just aim at the end of the snow. And you don't need to do anything, just need to throw, and it will reach default. And that's pretty much it for post plant B. Really, there's also these types of ones here that you can do across the wall. I think I also forgot to mention as well, you can do the same on the other side as well. You can do the same like this too, which is a really strong dizzy as well. Ideally it won't land here, it will land over here though. But it doesn't really matter too much on the post plants too much, because you don't really have that much time to pick up anyway. And yeah, you'll be using wingman as well to delay plants as well if you picked it up back up. It's just the biggest thing on Gekko is to just make sure you pick up your util again. As much as possible, and to learn when you can do it, and to also learn lineups that will allow you to do it. Those are the main things on Gekko to make sure you get right. So that's it for the guide. I hope you enjoyed, and if you want to see more content like this, then subscribe and I'll see you in my next one.